I am stoked about the new releases to CreatorTrack. Previously, it's been all about the Amazon Influencer Program, but we know that many of you are also dipping your toe into UGC, and we believe that CreatorTrack is the best place to bridge those two worlds together. And that's why this newest release does just that thing. So let me show you exactly what we're doing. Right here on the dashboard, you can go down to the intake form, and you'll notice there is now a type up here at the top of the page. It's typically going to default to Amazon. I had been playing around with this, that's why it was on UGC, but let's go ahead and start over just so you can see what I'm talking about. So it defaults to Amazon right here, and if you don't make the change, it's going to assume that whatever card you're creating or whatever collaboration you're adding is Amazon. Don't fret if you forget to change this. In the waiting list, to-do list, and completed list, you can change it to UGC at any time, so it's not a big deal. But I'm gonna go ahead and change this to UGC. When I do so, it does not change any of the other fields. The experience is exactly the same as you have come to be used to with the CreatorTrack flow. But I don't have to enter in all of the field information. So I'm going to put in some dummy data, as this is a dummy account. Let's assume that I am going to complete a Video 3 Gab UGC collaboration. I'm using Gab because I recently did one with them. So this is now Video 3 with them. I'm going to skip the product link, Amazon ASIN, I can skip all of that. If they're sending me a product price, I can certainly put that in. Let's say they send me a $250 watch for my children. Now I can go ahead and enter in the influencer as before, and now the seller. What I typically do for UGC is you can put in just a generic UGC if you want. I typically like to create the seller based off of the platform that I find that seller from, or that UGC collaboration from. I do a lot with Fiverr, so I have like UGC-Fiverr. If you're on Kale, you could do like just Kale or UGC Kale. Whatever you want. You can also put in the specific brand itself, especially if you're working with them repeatedly. So you can deal with this however you want. I've chosen, in this case, to just put UGC Fiverr because we're going to assume I am working with this client via Fiverr. Now I can put in the requirements as per usual. So let's just say UGC POV style video, 45 seconds. And then 3x hooks. Let's just say that's what it is. And let's call this a $300 collaboration. So I'm going to put this to waiting list. And then what's great is I can, move this through the whole process as I usually do. We're good to go. It's now in the to-do list. And now I just need to find it in my list. And we're going to mark this as complete. Okay, perfect. Now, if I come to the dashboard, I am going to see a slight change in how it looked previously. It's going to default to a view of all categories, but now if I want to look at just items related to Amazon, I can click and it shows me only the commissions or income that I've received via the Amazon Influencer Program. Now, we recently have pushed out where you can pull in your sales and your creator connections data into your CreatorTrack. I did not do this for this dummy data, but I promise you it works. I've looked at it in my personal account. If you've done that and you are pulling in all of your Amazon sales data into CreatorTrack, there will then be a line items down here that show you Amazon on-site, Amazon off-site, creator connections, and all of that information will show through here under Amazon as well as under the all. However, if you go to UGC, that information does not pull through because your UGC deals typically are not related to Amazon. Now, in this case, you don't see that the revenue that I just pulled in or that I just completed is pulling in because I need to adjust the date. So let's do the 23rd, and voila. There now you see my $250 product collaboration came through, but I don't see the commissions or the video sold or anything like that. And that's because I haven't marked that that commission has been paid. So when I do that, that information will pull through here, but I want to show you something that is very unique more so to UGC than it is to Amazon. If I come back to the completed field here, either right here, this little emoji at the top here, or if I expand and I scroll all the way to the bottom, there's now this button called New Invoice. And before I get to that, I want to show you what you can do. You'll notice down here, there's this invoices box right here. If I click on that, I now have information so that I can brand an invoice. And so if I click this, I can add a logo. Let me add my CreatorTrack logo for you. All right, there it is. You can change your name. So right now it has it defaulted to my name, but maybe I want to be represented as CreatorTrack. And there's my business email. And then let's just put this as Beverly Hills CA. What's 90210? Is that what it is? 90210. Oh, okay. Let's say I put that as my address. Now, whatever you put here, it should persist through every single invoice going forward. You can come back and change it as you'd like, or you can change it on a per individual invoice if you need to. You can set the due date I'm just going to default it to 7 days, but you can change it to these other date ranges as well. And then if there's certain instructions that you'd like on that invoice, you can include it, and this will persist through every invoice also. So for example, maybe I put, please reference this invoice number on the description when payment is sent. That way I know which invoice is being paid, and then I can put my PayPal email is, and then I can put whatever that is. Perfect. And then now I'm going to save this branding in the bottom, and then now going forward, all this information is going to pull through on the invoice, and let's just test it out. So I go back to completed. I'm going to go back to the Gab video 3. I'm just going to use this little shortcut right here. And what it does is it pulls in the commission information that I had selected. So this doesn't show what was actually paid, it shows what should be paid. So anything that you put into commission is going to pull through here, and then anything that pulls into, just like if you're selling the original video, it's like original video payment amount or something like that. I don't remember off the top of my head, but those two are where the money's going to pull through from. So there's 2 locations, pulls through here. Now something important to know is to make the CreatorTrack work to your benefit, we need to have one source of truth. So we can't have 8 different locations where you're adding money as like a source of money. So we don't want the invoice to be a source of truth for money. Everything is going to be tied back to the cards. So whatever you put into the cards that you're creating in the intake form, that you're editing in the waiting list, and the to-do list, and the completed list, that will be the source of truth. Anything that you put into the invoice is just makeup on a pig, if you will. It just makes it look nice for the customer so they can see how you break things down, but it is not going to affect your dashboard. It's not going to affect anything like that. It's just the makeup to make it look nice for your client. So the due date you can see here today as I'm recording is the 22nd of January because I had net 7. It does default to the 29th. I can override that and change to the 31st if I want to. You can see it's going to default with a company name right here. I can keep it as UGC Fiverr, or I can go ahead and change it to Gab if that's who I'm actually sending this invoice to. And then let's just call this Gab agent. And the email, let's just put gab@gab.com. Now, I want to be clear, whatever you put here is just showing up on the invoice. It's not actually who it's sending to. You'll have to still actually send this out when you're ready to. But it just makes the invoice look more complete and professional and nice. So let's just say they live at 123 Cherry Lane, Beverly Hills, CA 90210. They live close to me. If I want to add any additional notes, I can. Thanks for this collaboration, whatever you want. And then you can see this payment instruction still stays there below. Now when I hit create invoice, it's going to bring me back to the actual invoice page itself. It's going to take just a second to create. Now you can see everything has pulled through. It looks great. Now you notice these boxes. It's just letting you know that you can edit them in the invoice if you would like to do so. I'm going to add my actual address right here to show them how close we live to each other. Great. And you can see that that's going to stay. This doesn't update the branding from the settings over here. It's only making that change for this specific invoice. So just to keep that clear, this invoice is going to automatically update for every invoice that you create. It's just going to incrementally go up 1. And so if you send this invoice to Gab here, and then I have a collaboration with McDonald's, and you send McDonald's an invoice, it will just be INV-000002. So it just goes up like that. You can see the dates pull through here. I did override that 7-day net terms. Now it's the 31st, and that persisted through. All of this information came through. Now down here under the description, you can adjust this. So if I wanted to put, UGC video, POV style, 30 seconds, something so they know what it is, I could do that. If I wanted to add another line item, let's say that I also need to get charged for, hooks. And let's say I did 3 of them. And because of that, let's say the actual rate was $270. I can then adjust the rate of the hooks to be $10 a piece. And then now I've got it showing exactly to the client how this should be. Now, something I want to point out is the total is not going to change on this. The total is what you put into the card. As I mentioned earlier, the card is the sort of truth. So this total will remain whatever you have in the card. If you need to update the total to be something different, you have to go back out into the completed cards, find that card, and you need to adjust the commission there. That will then pull through into this invoice. Now the subtotal, this subtotal will change, and it's going to always represent the sum of the amount column. The goal for you is just to make sure the subtotal and the total line up. If they are out of line with each other, there will be a little message there telling you the difference, so then you can go back and figure it out so that it does align. This will let you send it out if the subtotal and the total do not align. So just make sure you do line them up so it just looks more professional for your client. And then once you feel like you're good to go, you can either come up here and print, you can mark it as sent, you can regenerate from the task. Let's say you create a draft invoice, and then after you draft it but you haven't sent it out, you realize you need to fix an issue, an error. Come back in here and you fix it, and then you just click regenerate from task and it will update. Or you can delete the invoice. Now in this case, I want to print. It'll create that preview, and then I'm going to save the PDF where it will save to my desktop. And you'll notice it automatically saves in this format. It saves the name of the company as you typed in to the invoice, underscore, and then the invoice number. So hopefully that just makes it easy for you to find it and locate it. I'm going to save it just to my desktop. And now, here it is from my desktop. This is exactly as it looks like. Now I can send this as a PDF to my client as an official invoice. They now have that on record. Now the thing that is great is when I actually receive the payment, whether it's through PayPal or through my bank account, whatever the terms were, what is going to happen is I'm going to add that information into the completed card like I always do, because that's the source of truth. So I will open up this card, come down here, and I will show that the commission was actually paid. It came through PayPal, all that stuff that I like to do. They actually paid out $300. There was, let's just say there was a fee for using PayPal. So $295 was what I actually received. What will happen is if I scroll down to the bottom of this card where the invoice is now, you'll see it has been updated to paid. So that will update for you automatically. So it closes that loop for you. Now, if I have sent out the invoice and it's not yet paid, if I come into the invoice, I can change it to sent. I can change the status if I want to do that. And so I always know where the invoice is. That way I can say like, oh, I sent this out, but I'm not yet paid. Now I know I need to go follow up with the sender, or excuse me, with the seller, and just remind them that the invoice is due for payment. Or I could be like, oh shoot, I created the invoice and it's due tomorrow, but I never sent it out. So I need to recreate the invoice, update the payment terms, because that's not on them, it's on me, and then I can now set out the new invoice. You can create multiple invoices for a card if you need to, but generally I think you'll just be creating one. Hopefully this is very straightforward. I'm very excited about this feature. I think this brings you closer as a creator to the tools that you need to run your business, whether it's Amazon Influencer or it is in the UGC world. And because I have now marked this as paid, if I go back to the dashboard, you will see now the dashboard is updated. It shows me that I received $250 in products that watch from my collaborations, as well as $300 in commissions. Hope you enjoyed this. Please reach out with any questions.